Hello, this is Nick Emanuel with CropX Product Development, and I'm here today to introduce our new and improved variable rate irrigation tool. I first provided an inside look at some of these new features that were coming back at our recent dealer conference back in February. And today I'm pleased to announce it is now available for all CropX customers. VRI has been an ongoing product development within CropX ever since the merger with CropMetrics back in around 2020. Looking even further back, CropMetrics was the industry's first commercially available variable rate irrigation software, which was released first back in 2010. And since then, it's been an ever-evolving transition, making this technology better each and every year. And now, I'm the most excited about VRI as I've ever been because we have officially brought all the great and advanced VRI capabilities from CropMetrics into the easy-to-use CropX platform. But better yet, we've not only made it extremely simple to use, as you will see, but we've added even more capability while combining with other tool sets within CropX to make this a full cropping management system. And with that, let's jump into the software now for a general overview of these great new features. So I'm going to share my screen and give you guys a live demo here. So right here, we're in one field within the CropX platform. My home field here right by my house. You'll see I actually got a live ET sensor, our new ET sensor, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to look at VRA maps, which is now found under the task menu on the left-hand side. So this is a new feature set. And this is part of what I was mentioning on VRI being integrated with other tool sets, specifically VRA and others such as machine data, which I will show you here shortly. But when we look at this, when you go into the VRA, you're going to have three new options: create management zones, VRA, or just VRA, VRI or VRA. VRA is just general variable rate application, which could be seeding, fertilizer, or anything else that you would like to create a quick and easy variable rate application map with. We're going to kind of show you a little combination of both today, but this really gives you a first look at what I mean by creating a full systems approach management system when we have these capabilities. Because now, one thing we haven't been able to do in the past was combine variable rate applications such as planting and fertilizer scripts with variable rate irrigation. Now with this system, we can start to combine all of those variable rate applications using the same management zones from one application to the next, which is really exciting, and we'll show you. So here when I jump to another field, again, kind of a setup for demos here, you'll see I've got some saved zones. This is another feature which we haven't had in the past, but now you're able to save not only management zones to be able to then use with variable rate irrigation or variable rate application maps, but you can also save those specific VRA or VRI maps to use again and again later down the road, or bring them back up and adjust them as needed to maybe tweak them at certain times within the season. We're going to focus on VRI today, and because it's really the same step-by-step process. When I start with VRI, it's going to ask me to create management zones. And I can start from my basic soil or crop zones, or I now have the capability to create variable rate irrigation maps from either machine data or in-season satellite. Again, two new feature sets that make the VRI as well as VRA really powerful in my mind. If you haven't played with machine data yet, this is automatically imported from any machine data connection that you may have already established, such as John Deere Operations Center, or any other data set you can manually import. And so an example here I'll show you is we had this field EC mapped with an EC sled several years ago. And I brought in the EC points, which when I select that, I can select either my subsoil or topsoil. I select my subsoil, it'll take all of those recorded points and automatically make a contour map. Again, this same process is going to be the same for whether you're doing just management zones or VRI or VRA. You can select the number of zones you want to create. If I want to simplify that and maybe only do 3 zones versus 5, in only just a matter of seconds, it will again transform those points into management zones. There's other data sets we could apply. You can see here, I've got some harvest data from back in 2022. I select that harvest data, which came directly over from our John Deere Operations Center connection. And let's go into our yield volume. And again, using those high density yield points that were collected from the machine data, it's going to create us management zones. And again, I can create any number of management zones that I would like. Switch it to 5 zones here. And then we will hit, again, just next step. So very easy to use. The satellite imagery works the very same way, where you can select satellite imagery and then select the specific date going back throughout history or the previous years, as well as the current imagery, and select whichever one you think is needed for any particular time of the year. Next step now is assigning the rates. So here is a pretty good indication. Again, I'm using a harvest map. And I don't know if you noticed, but this harvest map lines up very well with my EC data, where my poor yielding areas are going to be my lightest soil types, which in this particular field is some sand blown areas that you see here in my zone 1 and in zone 2. I can either go in and manually enter in rates into each specific zone, or very quickly, I'm just going to throw in a low rate and a high rate I want for these specific zones from the low to high, knowing that my average rate is right around 1 inch typically. Right? Enter in that min and max. I can hit this distribute button and it will automatically distribute those rates evenly across whatever number of zones you may have selected initially. So now I've proceeded with going from low to high. If I hit that distribute button again, I can flip those rates. So now I'm going high to low. So again, a very quick and easy tool to generate those rates across the zones. Now that I've established what rates I want for specific management zones, again, these zones could be created from anything: imagery, machine data, EC data, as I mentioned before. Next step, and it's going to create us our variable rate irrigation script. I can't express enough how easy this is compared to previous tools and softwares that we've had in the past. But now you've got a couple nice feature sets going back to the crop metrics days, with an amplification factor, that we can quickly adjust the whole script up or down by a base percentage. If I want to adjust that script down, I can just quickly adjust that slider bar, and it's going to adjust that whole script by 80%. So a 20% reduction. The same way I can increase it by 20% up, and it'll again quickly adjust that entire script up. You'll see I have options to adjust my base rate. If I want to bump that down or up, I can quickly do that, and it will adjust the entire script accordingly. Similar to the amplification factor, kind of a two ways to adjust based on your customization preferences. I've also got a variety of sector sizes. You know, we've always started at 6 degrees, kind of knowing that's the happy medium of having a large enough sector size without getting too large or too small. But you can, whatever preference you want, you can go up or down based on, again, your customization factor. The other nice thing is we have more advanced editing features with these locking options. So let's say up here at the top, I want to leave those specific slices. I don't want to adjust them, but I want to adjust everything else in this script. Well, I can lock those specific feature sets, and then I can go over here, and now let's bump this whole prescription down to 70%. And what it's going to do is it's going to leave those locked sectors locked, but it adjusted everything else. So now this gives you kind of individual customization features that allows you to edit certain slices, but not edit the rest. Maybe I want to edit the whole thing except for 2 or 3 specific slices within or sectors within the script. Again, now I've got the whole thing selected or locked except for 2 or 3, and I just adjusted everything based on that preference that I selected. So then we hit next step. And as simple as that is, it takes us to download our VRI prescription, which will download in a standard CSV format, which then can be uploaded into any of the telemetry controllers used today. I save and download. You'll now see that that VRI script that we just created is saved here in our list and allows us to download it again as needed. If we go into our VRI map, this one was previously created. I can come in here and I can adjust this VRA as needed. Maybe I want to adjust the rates I previously had. Allows me to easily do that and create a new script, which I can save new again later and take to something else. Or I can use existing management zones. Again, maybe I have some standard management zones that I want to use throughout the season. I want to use them for VRI. I want to use them for seeding, fertilizer, everything. You can see I can go right from my established management zones into a VRA map or a VRA script. Again, very easy to use. Lets you with multiple options. If I come into VRA, I can choose previously selected or previously saved management zones, or get into, again, custom machine or satellite data set. One of the other well-known features back from crop metrics was our wiper script capability. Now, wiper, really what that means is it's a partial circle. Whatever size of partial circle, whether it's a half a pivot, or in this case, just almost a full pivot with a one corner that's goes around a particular farm that you can see in this southwest corner. Well, those wipers, from the traditional name, wipe back and forth in a windshield wiper motion. A challenge with that windshield wiping motion is it creates overlap in those corners that often get double application coming in and out of those corners constantly. So we had created a wiper functionality that will speed up and slow down out of each corner to give them a more uniform application coming in and out of those corners to reduce that double application. So in this example, you can see I've got one created, but we'll just kind of run through that example. Here, I'm going to choose my basic soil NRCS crop zones. And the reason I wanted to show this particular example is because now you can see one of the other great features that we can utilize in season. So obviously I'm recording this video right before planting. We don't have a live CropX sensor in the ground, but if we had a CropX soil sensor installed, it could use that real-time soil moisture status to establish our variable rate irrigation rates. And in this example, you can see I can select based on my sensor, which isn't installed now, or use a manual approach. But when basing on a sensor, we now have two irrigation application methods. The full point irrigation to each zone is going to apply less water on the lighter soil types, more water on the heavier soil types based on their overall water holding capacity. That is the standard CropX approach. Now, as many of you might remember, back at Crop Metrics, we also provided an additional method that would apply less water on the heavier soil types, more water on the lighter soil types. And that was often for specific seasons, just like we're seeing here in the Midwest now, which we're in a very wet and rainy season. In those particular seasons, our heavier soils are often holding more water than those lighter soils. And our variable rate irrigation opportunity is to put less water or reduce our application on those heavier soils. And so that's what this optimized water uptake strategy is for, is to kind of inverse the original method or formula to now apply more water on the lighter soil type, less water on the heavier soil type. Again, based on your individual needs, we can go with either option. In this particular case, I'm just going to throw in some random rates here. Just to show you again what this wiper script capability can do, as this was a highly requested feature. So this is just our standard application based on those rates I identified for the particular soil zones. But now if we select a forward wiper script direction, what it's going to do now is it's going to put less water down in that bottom corner. And that way, when it's running, it will speed up coming into that corner so it doesn't produce a double application if we're running this pivot nonstop, often like we see in season. In the same aspect, we can also have a reverse script. So when it comes back around, it's going to put a little more coming out of that corner, but again, speeding up into the next corner up there in the upper left. So you would actually have two wiper scripts, one for forward direction, one for reverse direction. You would upload both of those scripts to your telemetry controller. And most all the telemetry controllers today, you can set specific settings to run a designated script for one direction versus the other direction. And that way, whatever the grower sets for the direction of his pivot, it will automatically implement that script that you created for this wiper scenario. So with that again is a brief overview of our new variable rate irrigation application. Again, some of the new features that we have added have been wiper scripts, the amplification factor, locking slices for advanced editing, the new option for selecting either algorithm, applying more water on the heavier soils or less water on the heavier soils, depending on your specific needs. The ability to combine with our variable rate application is just a huge, huge one. Again, I can't stress enough of the capability now to match our seeding, fertilizer, and irrigation prescriptions all together, utilizing the same management zones throughout the year. Not only that, but we now have the ability to use any base layer we want to create those management zones, whether it's for irrigation or general VRA. That can be from machine data or in-season imagery. I'm excited for the in-season imagery. I will probably be following up with another video in season as we get down a couple months, showing you how we can utilize our CropX imagery to create or change irrigation prescriptions week by week based on new imagery, or every other week. You know, the frequency of change all is dependent upon the field and the individual season and crop growth. But with this new in-season imagery capability, we can really adjust on the go as needed. And the video I'm planning on will actually show you how to do a variable rate fertigation script in season, which I'm also really excited for. And lastly, one of the other features that we talked about is saving scripts for later use, whether that's editing the same script you had used before, or utilizing the saved management zones or VRA scripts to then create a VRI script. So with that, thank you for your time today, and look forward to all of you getting to try the new variable rate irrigation and variable rate application feature sets in the CropX web platform. Thank you.